Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so chapter 13, verse 27 to 35 speaks about Jnana Chakshus, the vision of knowledge. What are the other type of chakshus, you know? What are other types of eyes? One is Jnana Chakshus, then
Charma Chakshus.
Charma Chakshus, good. Then?
Divya Chakshus.
Yes?
Divya Chakshus.
Divya Chakshus.
Mataji, Prema Chakshu.
Prema Chakshu, good. So, Prema Chakshus is required for what?
Devotion, Mataji.
I think unallowed devotees will have Prema Chakshu, the Bhav.
Yes, unallowed devotees, so as to see the 200 form of Krishna, right? Prema Janachurita Bhakti Vilochanena Sanda Sadaiva Hrudeshu Vilokayanti Yamshama Sundar Achindya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Good. So that's Prema Chakshus. Then Jnana Chakshus means Shastra Chakshus, like the eyes of knowledge, or through the Shastra they see. Charma Chakshus is normal eyes. And what Chakshus did Arjuna get to see the universal form?
Divya Drishti.
Divya Chakshus, right? Yes. So, Arjuna had Prema Chakshus. Arjuna was seeing Krishna in the 200 form. Now he is coming to the lower one, divine eyes. Why? From Prema, why is he shifting to divine form? Like to see the universal form. Everyone wants to see the 200 form, no? Manasi Mataji?
Mataji, because Arjuna wanted to confirm that Krishna is the Supreme Lord by to tell the other people who think that Krishna is not the Supreme or someone else.
Yes, but why he has to come down for that? Like from Prema level, he's coming to lower level, right? That's my question. Like from Prema, he reached Prema level. Yes, Rajeta Mataji?
Harikrisha Mataji, because the Lord wanted to spread dharma, the message of dharma. That is why he came on earth.
Okay. Oh yes. Lakshmi Mataji, do you have any initial for your name?
Mataji, Lakshmi Mataji is only there, Mataji.
Only Lakshmi is your name?
Yes, Mataji. Or you can call me Agnijita also, like.
What?
Agnijita, Agnijita.
That is another name, no?
Yes, Mataji.
No initial for you, no this thing?
No, Mataji.
Just Lakshmi. Okay, okay. Yeah, what's your answer?
Hare Krishna Mataji, because through the, my answer is that through Arjuna, he wanted to spread everyone and confirm that to all mankind that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is why he went down from Prema to the Divya Drishti, so that everyone could understand the Supreme Personality of God.
Okay. So, like, yes, Prafula Mataji, one more I'll take.
Hare Krishna Mataji. For common people like us who don't have the spiritual knowledge like that, and through material eyes only will see Krishna through material representation. For that he wanted to see, and he got the Divya Chakshu.
Yeah, so in the sense, an Uttama Adhikari cannot preach. In the sense, Uttama Adhikari sees everyone as devotee except himself. So, he can't preach. So, he has to come to the Madhyama Adhikari to preach. Similarly, in Prema platform, Arjuna is seeing the 200 form. Now, he wanted to see the universal form. And for, yes, as Mother said, to set a criteria in future, nobody claims as God. Second is to show everyone that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, to show how great Krishna is, to confirm and to convince the local people that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he had to come to the divine platform stage. He had to come down to explain them, right, about the universal form. So one aspect of confirming, if somebody comes and say he's God, you can ask for the universal form. What is the other thing you can check to confirm whether they are God. That person is somebody comes. One is you also check their 6 opulences are there. What is the other thing? Lakshmi Mataji.
Supremacy, his divine place, his leelas, and all that we can with that we can confirm.
But Leelas and all will not be able to be manifested right then, no? Yes, Manasivi, this is very easy way.
Mataji, reference from Shastras?
From Shastra, but
Shastra.
if you don't have time to refer Shastra, then Jyoti Mataji.
To display the four-handed form. Arjuna asked this to Lord Krishna because so that in future many people who claim to be
No,
God.
that is universal form, not four-handed.
Okay.
That is fine. So one more thing is, does God have shadow? No. Why? Because why? God doesn't have a shadow. We all have shadow. God won't have shadow. Yes,
Hare
Shraddha
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji.
Because God doesn't have a material body.
Very nice.
His body
Yes.
is transcendental.
Yes. So this material body, because it has made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, because of that, we have a shadow when the sunlight reflects on the body and then it falls as a shadow. But for God, there is no difference between his body and the soul. It's same. He's Satchidananda Swarup, right? So he's transcendental. His form is transcendental, right? So because of that, he doesn't have a shadow. So the easy way to confirm somebody is not God, just check whether that person have a shadow, like especially during the sunlight. And then you ask for the universal form. These are the two things, very easy. Then as you all said, check in the Shastra, Guru Sadhu Shastra, and all those things, the opulences, Leela, pastimes, all that comes. Okay. So verse 27 says, Yavat Sanjayate Kinjayet Satvam Sat Stavara Jangamam Kshetra Kshetracha Samyoga Tadvidi Bharadarshapa. Oh, as chief of Bharadas, know that whatever you see in existence, both moving and non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. Okay, just a combination. Like every entity is a combination of Kshetra and Kshetracha. That means Kshetra is a body or the field of activity, and Kshetracha is the knower of the field. That is the soul and the super soul. So everything, Jangama, moving and non-moving, Stavara, in the material existence is a combination of these two. That means the Lord is the controller of both. The superior nature, Jiva, and the inferior nature, Prakriti, puts them in motion. So, whereas in Bhagavad Gita does Krishna explain about everything in this creation being the combination of spirit and matter? Any other chapter we discuss about spirit and matter? Rafila Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, chapter 8.
8, okay. Chapter 7, chapter 8.
That has also.
Siddha Mataji?
Chapter 2.
2, yes.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, yeah. So we have a great discussion between the matter and spirit. All that is discussed. Samam sarveshu bhudeshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatyav avinashyantam yapashyati sapashyati. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all the body and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed actually sees. So soul and super soul both don't get destroyed. That's a true seer, in the sense Pandita Samadarshina. He sees everyone equal, right? Vidya Vinaya Sambanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Shaiva Supakecha Pandita Samadarshina. Pandita sees everyone equal. Why? Because he sees the Paramatma in everyone. So, a true seer is somebody who sees the Paramatma, the super soul. Samasarveshu Bodeshu. He is equally disposed towards all living entities, the super soul, Krishna. But it is said that Krishna is partial towards his devotees, no? But why is it said he is equally disposed? He is only partial towards his devotees. Krishna says, Samoham sarva bodeshu name dreshena stena priya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham.
Mataji, initially the God sees everyone, all the living entities in an equal way. But whoever does seva for the Lord Krishna, they will be taken back to his Godhead in the fastest way.
Yeah, why? Why? That's my question. Ada Lakshmi Mataji. Yes, why? Why is he partial towards the devotees? Yes, you're right. Whoever does service. Why? Yes, Prafula Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, because his devotees are fully dependent on him.
Yes, devotees are fully dependent on him, like a small child becomes more dependent on the mother, right? Mother loves everyone. He's not partial. Yes, a child is dependent on the mother completely, so mother takes care of it. And a devotee, yes, is completely surrendered to Krishna, completely surrendered, dependent on Krishna, that Krishna had to take care of them, right? So like a small child goes on calling for the mother, and the mother takes care of the child. The elder one is independent, so mother leaves that child to do things on their own. But does that mean the mother doesn't like the elder son? No. The mother's love for all the children is the same, but she gives extra care. That's natural affection. We can never say God is partial. It's a natural affection towards the younger one. Okay. So Krishna is residing in everyone's heart as Sri Vishnu, and he's indestructible, situated in the destructible body. Neither the soul nor the super soul are destroyed, right? One who sees this actually sees. A pure devotee sees like that. So what is the result of such mature vision? That's explained in 29. Samam pashyehi sarvatra samavishtitam ishvaram nahi nasti atmanatmanam tato yadi param gati. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere, in every living being, does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere, does not degrade himself. So he doesn't degrade, okay? Because he sees that seeing in a proper knowledge, but does not degrade because he sees the Lord. Proper rise in the purport, the living entity by accepting this material existence has become situated differently than in his spiritual existence. But if one understands that the Supreme is situated as Paramatma everywhere, that is, if one can see the presence of the Supreme Personality God in every living thing, then he does not degrade himself by a destructible mentality. If you see, like for terrorism and all, they are coming and destroying the people. If they see that Krishna is in others' heart as Paramatma, they won't feel like destroying them. Even for animal killing, for that matter, meat eating. Like if you have that daya, that feel that, oh, Krishna is in a fish's heart, Krishna is in a chicken's heart, in a goat's heart, how do you feel like killing them for your sense gratification? No, that's mercy, that daya component is there. So he will see everyone equally, in the sense the destructible mentality will be lost, and he therefore gradually advance to the spiritual world, because daya, mercy is important to advance. What is the three principle Mahaprabhu taught? Three things we should do. That's what Mahaprabhu gives in a short capsule form. Yes, Jyoti Mataji?
Mataji, daya, austerity, and one more.
No, Jivera Daya, that is there. Then two more. Not austerity. Lakshmi Mataji?
Humility.
No. All that is secondary. But the main principle is Name Ruchi, Jive Daya, and Vaishnav Seva. Okay, the three things which Mahaprabhu actually taught us is Name Ruchi. You should have taste for the Nama, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You should keep chanting the holy name and develop taste. The same time, you should have Jive Daya, Daya or the mercy or compassion to Jiva, other living entities. Then Vaishnav Seva, service to Vaishnavas. These are three things he says. The mind is generally addicted to sense gratificatory process, but when the mind turns to the super soul, one becomes advanced in spiritual understanding. Okay, so seeing everyone as a part and parcel of Krishna. Prakritvaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvajah yapashyati tadatmanam akartaram sapashyati. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created by material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. So if somebody knows that the self doesn't do anything, it is actually the three doers. Who is the three doers? Yes, Manasi Mataji.
Mataji, the soul which desires the three modes of material nature, which asks the Supreme Lord to sanction, and the Supreme Lord who sanctions.
Good. So the soul, super soul, and the three modes of material nature. What is their relationship? How are they related? Someone else can add. What is that? The three of them are related. How are they related? Yes, Prafula Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Living entity desires, Mataji.
Desires, very good. The living entity desires, then?
And the Supreme Lord sanctions the desire,
the super soul sanctions, and
the material nature executes
that
that
material
desire.
nature carries it out. Okay. So this is how they are related, right? Okay. So a true seer's vision about Jiva and Prakriti. That means all material activities are performed by the body, which is called created by Prakriti. But they see that the self is doing nothing. One who sees this actually sees. That means what? We are just desiring. Actually, it is sanctioned by Krishna and carried by the three modes of material nature. So we are not the doer. So we can say that, oh, you kill somebody and you say, I'm not the doer. Is that right? I'm not the doer. Super soul sanctioned and the three modes of material nature carried it away. So I did something wrong and suffering comes to me. I say, no, I'm not the doer. Yes, Manasi?
Mataji, like if we do something good, that's also by the sanction of the Lord, but we don't accept that.
That is there. Yes, Jyoti Mataji.
Mataji, at least we desired the ill of some entity. So that is taken into consideration. The ill desire we are paid for.
But why is Krishna not stopping it? Somebody is going to kill someone or somebody is going to rape someone. Why Krishna could have stopped it, no?
Because we are misusing our minute independence and Krishna never interferes in that. But we have to pay a heavy price for that.
Yes, excellent. So Krishna doesn't interfere in your minute independence. What is the analogy for minute independence? Your karma also, because if you have killed somebody in your previous janma, that person might kill you in this janma. So karma also is coming. So that we, yeah. What is the analogy for minute independence? Who remembers? Anyone who never answered today? Nobody knows, only Mansi knows. Yeah, Shraddha Mataji.
Mataji, a cow tied to a tree, it can move only as in a limited area in which the rope allows it, not more than that. So that way we have a limited amount of independence to carry out activity.
How tight?
Like a cow is tied up to a tree, so it can move in a limited amount of area. So that way we have got a limited independence to carry out our activities.
Yeah. So that is the minute independence, right? The cow is tied, that rope, that radius. Similarly, we also have a minute independence. Okay. So do we have a breakout room? Okay, so we can hear as the breakout room. Might be the last one. Okay. Okay. You can go for the last one. Yada Buddha Pratak Bhavam Ekastam Anupashyati Tada Eva Cha Vistataram Brahma Sampatyade Tada. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to the different material bodies and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he tends to the Brahman conception. So material vision is to see separate identities due to different material body, and mature vision is to see how beings of same spiritual nature are expanded everywhere. By such vision, one attains to the Brahman platform. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, in the material concept of life, we find someone a demigod, someone human, dog, cat, etc. This is material vision, not actual vision. This material differentiation is due to the material conception of life. After destruction of the material body, the spirit soul is one. The spirit soul, due to contact with material nature, gets different types of body. Karanam gunasanga asya. Why are we getting different types of body? Because we associate with that particular modes of nature. If we associate with tamoguna, we might get an animal form of life. That's why 4 regulatory principles is so important, because meat eating, intoxication, gambling will make us go down in the species of life, right? So the 4 regulatory principles is just a part of your spiritual life. Now, sometimes you come to ISKCON, you're like, what is this? Yeah, no tea, coffee, onion, garlic in ISKCON. What is this? So much of rules and regulations. Other Sampradaya, nothing. I know one friend, she got initiated, but they still have meat. But what happens? The process won't work. You won't have daya. You won't have that purification to go back home, back to Godhead. We're doing all this for what? Right? So it's very important. And you know Bhagavad Gita on one side, and on the other side, you are killing someone for your sense gratification. That is not right, because they also have spirit soul in them. They also have Krishna as Paramatma in them, right? So that spirit soul, that part should be, or just the material body is not the concept. The spirit soul, due to contact with material nature, they get different types of body, and when one can see this, he attains spiritual vision. So that's why we should associate with Sattva-guna, getting up at Brahma Muhurta, attending Mangalarati, chanting the rounds, keeping vegetarian diet in that prasadarians, prasadam diet. Then what happened? Our consciousness increased. We associate with Sattva-guna, and we can have at least human form next. Okay. So have anyone heard about the first Russian devotee ever? First. Srila Prabhupada met that person for just 2 days and gave him full Krishna consciousness, and he spread Krishna consciousness in Russia. Ananta Shantidas. So what does he does? In those days, it was not allowed to spread Krishna consciousness. So he offers red roses to Krishna, and then take them, that roses, and give it to others in the public, and tell them to smell the roses, saying that, please smell the roses, at least we'll get human form next. That means they are taking prasadam. Smelling the rose means what? Smelling what Krishna have already taken. So one of the police caught him and is like, what are you doing? You can't give roses like this. Are you preaching something? He's like, no, I'm in love. So I just want to spread to everyone that my happiness of being in love. Actually, he's in love with Krishna. So, and then how people just smelled that rose, which is just offered to Krishna. Then he took them to his house and gave them prasadam, gave them Krishna. Slowly. Now Russia has the maximum of Krishna conscious devotees. Even in our temple, 7 of them. I mean, almost half the strength is Russian devotees. They all doing Hariram Sankirtan, they cook, they preach, they do book distribution, so many things, even though they have language issues, because languages, the soul doesn't have any language. So they just, they're so pure in their devotional service that they can influence anyone, right? So all that started because of one devotee. Okay, why I'm saying this? Because that person saw everyone equally. That person have attained the highest platform. Okay, so 32 to 35, the last few slokas of this chapter is about the soul being the non-doer and is not entangled. Okay, anaditvan nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyaya sharirasto api kaunteya nakaroti na libhyate. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. So no, soul is actually not doing anything, but it desires, and Krishna doesn't interfere in your minute independence. You had a minute independence. You could have either come for the class or gone for a movie or something, but you didn't misuse it. You used in a right way to come to the class, right? So you'll get the benefit. The soul is, as Namanishra Prabhu saying, you need not be successful in spiritual life. Your attempt to do something, itself is successful. In material life, you have to pass an exam to be successful. But in spiritual life, you attempt to do something, you're successful. Krishna marks it. The soul is eternal and changeless. Nevertheless, because of being in the material body, does the soul combine with it and get contaminated by its qualities? To answer this, Krishna gives 2 analogy. Soul does not mix with matter. The soul situated in Brahman vision stays aloof, though situated in the material body. Just as the sky, although all-pervading, doesn't mix with anything due to its subtle nature. The soul eliminates the entire body of consciousness, just as the sun alone eliminates the whole universe, right? So how do you know somebody is living? By the consciousness, right? Similarly, that soul, how do you know somebody has a soul in it? Because of consciousness. So consciousness spread all over the body. Similarly, like how sun illuminates the whole universe. Okay, that is one analogy. And the second analogy is how sky is not getting mixed with anything. Similarly, the soul being in the material body is aloof. It doesn't get mixed with anything. And Falashruti is those who see with the eyes of knowledge the difference between body and the knower of the body can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in the material nature to attain the supreme goal. So the summary of chapter 13 is, so here it is said that one should know the distinction between the body, the owner of the body, and the supersoul. One should recognize the process of liberation. Okay, that's what 8 to 12 says. and then go to the supreme destination. It's also said the material world is working by the conjunction of the soul and 24 material elements, Mahatattva. One who can see the constitution of the whole material manifestation as the combination of soul and material elements can also see the situation of the super soul become eligible to transfer to the spiritual world. These things are meant for contemplation and for realization, and one should have a complete understanding of this chapter with the help of the spiritual master. Now we have Srila Prabhupada to explain. Right, we'll have a quick breakout room and then we can post the attendance link. So it's a summary of it's chapter 13, and you have 2 points. One group can present the contents, not in a slide form, but at least the whole chapter 13, you can summarize it. Okay. And we had this, can we do it in a pictorial form? Can we all of this do a pictorial form of chapter 13? Nice, you can just draw. It'll be nice if you can draw and just show a pictorial form of what chapter 13 is about. Okay, take the second part of the question. You have to present a summary of chapter 13, identifying the main philosophical concepts and a section of verses and how they are connecting. And you have to present it in a pictorial form. Yes, Manasi?
Mataji, we have to draw just now.
Yeah.
Okay, Mataji, I'll draw.
The 5 minutes. Time is for 10 minutes. No, each breakout room, you can decide how you're doing it. Okay. Might be one person can, nice, good artist can draw. And others can, you can on the video and show it. And others can give the ideas how to do it. Might be I can have 3 rooms, so that's small rooms. Okay, 5 minutes. Hare Krishna, all are back. Some are back. So ready with pictorial representation. Hare Krishna, so all are back. Yeah, okay. So what I'll do, Mataji, you can post the attendance link now. Shraddha Mataji also. Okay, others, you can start the, okay, please fill the attendance form and then we can start the showing the pictorial representation. I'll start with room number 1. Dinanath Prabhu, Jyoti Mataji, Kripa Mataji, Lakshmi Mataji, Mandagini. Who is doing? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, room number 1. I'm not able to hear anyone. Okay, let's go to room number 2. Yes, who's doing from room number 2? Deepali Mataji, Prafulla Mataji, Rajayate Mataji. Only 3. Yeah, Manasi, you're doing from which room?
Mataji, room number 2. I and Dipali Mataji. I am doing the drawing. I am showing the drawing and Dipali Mataji will do the summarization.
Okay. So you show this thing. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, this drawing summarization we will do later after the summary. Krishna, Arjuna asked 6 questions in the first shloka, like about Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragya, Jnanam and Geyam. And from shloka 2 to 7, Krishna describes about the Kshetra, Kshetragya and Jnanam. Like Kshetra is body, Kshetragya is both soul and Krishna, and Jnanam is the perfect knowledge. Then shloka 8 to 12, Krishna explains about the Jnanam or the process of acquiring knowledge, like 20 elements of knowledge like humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, and so on. And from shloka 13 to 19, Krishna explains about Geyam, that is object of knowledge, that is soul and super soul are object of knowledge, and he explains about the qualities of the super soul. Then from shloka 20 to 26, Krishna tells about Prakriti, Purusha and their union. Like Prakriti means nature and Purusha, Jiva are eternal, and Prakriti causes are all material causes and effects. And that super soul is real Purusha. And knowledge, Prakriti, Purusha and Gunas, one attains after knowing all this, one attains the liberation. And it is told about, from shloka 25 to 26, it is explained about different methods of liberation. And from shloka 27 to 35, today we have covered that is Jnana Chakshu, the vision of knowledge. So the living entity is like combination of Prakriti and Purusha. And that is explained in shloka 27, 28 to 31. the true seers of vision of Jiva, Prakriti and Paramatma. And Shloka 32 to 35, it explains about the non-doership of the soul. Like desires, the soul is like non-doer, and desires are the ones who they are the doer. Hare Krishna. Mataji, I will pass on to Prafulla Mataji to explain this diagram. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. About the diagram, Mataji, 4 things are there. The soul. Hare Krishna Mataji. The soul, the super soul, the 3 modes of nature, which is the field of activity, and the ladder. From 8 to 12, we have to acquire knowledge for liberation. And the field of knowledge, because we have come with desire, we have gained with different bodies, and that is the soul that has desired. And the Supreme Lord who sanctions our desire through 3 modes of nature. And to get liberation, Mataji, we have to approach the spiritual master, who is like the ladder to give us knowledge, to get liberation. That's all, Mataji.
Very good. I like the diagram. Very nice. And yeah, the 3 modes. Just show once more, Manasvi. The Supreme Lord Krishna, the soul with the tilak. It's so nice. And the spiritual master, the ladder to reach, and the connection. Very nice. Very simple, but then very clearly explained. Very good. Okay, nice. So the short duration you did nicely. Okay, what about room number 1? I didn't get any response. Let's go to room number 2. 3 then.
Mataji, 1 is ready, Mataji.
Yeah, Lakshmi Mataji. Which one? Room number 1. Okay. Who's showing the diagram?
I'm showing.
It's
Mataji.
okay. We need not be an expert artist. Just you have to convey the message. That's it. Yes, Mataji, 1 second.
You're able to see, Mataji?
Yeah, just bring it close. Good. Yes, you're explaining?
I'm only explaining, Mataji.
Yeah.
Mataji, this is 1 second. You're able to see now?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji. So this is a person who has come out from the car for the wanted of ice cream. So the ice cream is the Maya. He is under sense gratification, and the present karma is this person. And the bulldozer, while he was busy in eating this ice cream, this bulldozer has come and demolished his car. So the bulldozer is the past karma and the car is the future karma. So all these things, it has been seen by Lord Krishna from up. And so that is why our earth is Dukkhalayam, which is always Ashashvata.
Very nice. Okay, so this is talking about how the soul desired to have an ice cream, and then that's a desire, and then super soul sanctioning it, right? And the material modes carrying it out. Yes, Dukkhalayam Ashashvata. Nice. What about room number 3?
Mataji, I'll share my screen. And
Okay,
Pravina
then.
Mataji will present.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, Pravina Mataji, you can start.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So this is the chapter 13 summary, in which the most important point is the last verses, where we come to know about Jnana Chakshu. So in the last verse, we can see that the person who has Jnana Chakshu is able to see Paramatma in every living entity. So that's the last part. And then we see that the chapter 13 is mainly about these 6 topics, 2 P's, 2 K's and 2 J's, followed by the 20 qualities which are needed for attaining this knowledge. And then we have the next part, which tells us that Krishna is a real enjoyer, and it talks about the qualities of the Jiva, Paramatma and Prakriti. And then in the next part of chapter 13, we know how to get the Jnana Chakshu and the difference between body and owner. And one who knows that is getting the supreme goal. So the Falasuti is that those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between body, knower of body, and understand the process of liberation, that is the last 13.35, is got the true knowledge. So the picture here describes how the kshetra is the body and how the knower of the body is a soul, and Krishna is the pradhana kshetragya, which is a chief knower of all the fields. So this entire chapter is the first chapter of the Jnana chapters, and it talks about 2 P's, 2 K's, and 2 J's. And one who knows this has attained a supreme goal. And once he knows that, he gets a Jnana Chakshu. So the main picture that we are presenting is how a person who has Jnana Chakshu sees everything and everyone equally, because he sees Paramatma everywhere. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, very nice. So, do you have a pictorial representation or no?
No drawing, Mataji. We only did
Okay, like this. Okay, fine. Okay. Yeah, because the question was about drawing, but that's fine. Yeah. That's okay. And for now, we have, yeah, because the question was about drawing, so you should have had a small drawing for that. It's okay. But you have summarized the chapter nicely with the different, with the flow chart, with in a small, less time, you made a nice PPT for that. Okay, nice. Okay. So, this we understood, like the main thing is the connection between the soul, super soul, and the 3 modes of material nature. That's what this chapter is about. And if you have such an exercise, it's good, no? Now you'll never forget what chapter 13 was about. So if a question was asked, what was the connection between chapter 13 and 14? You'll remember, oh, chapter 13 was 2 P's, 2 J's, 2 K's. And yes, Manasi Mataji had made a nice drawing, Lakshmi Mataji, then Shraddha Mataji had presented. So you'll never forget this. So I feel this is always good. That some kind of visual activity. We can have it for all chapters, no? At the end of every chapter, something like that. So we see the creativity also of
We'll all
devotees.
become artists, Mataji, at the end of the day.
But it's nice. It's nice. I like this. Because I'll never forget, because I remember now, chapter 13 is about these 3 things. We'll never forget. Theory, how much ever it's volatile. It just goes. But then visual things, no, visual aids and such interesting things is very nice. Okay. Anything to add for chapter 13? Yes, Jyoti Mataji.
Mataji, I have a doubt from the shlokas which you gave us.
What?
In this shloka 9.4, Maya tatmidam sarvam jagat vyakt murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham tesha vastitam, which says that by me in my unmanifested form this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. I could not understand this shloka because he is in everyone, like super soul in the heart.
Which
And
question
it's
is
written all
the
beings.
open book?
No. These are like the shlokas which you gave us to recite
Memorize.
and
Oh,
upload.
recite.
To recite
Yeah.
and upload.
I'm not in them. All of them are in me. That's because, yeah, who likes to explain this? That's a very easy part. Krishna is in everyone, but when Krishna is not in us, in the sense everyone is in Krishna, but Krishna is not in us. So what does that mean?
Mataji, may I try?
Yes.
So actually, according to this verse, the Lord is present and at the same time is not present. He might look that he is not present present in the moment, but he is there in every living entity, just like the thread on the where all the cords are situated. So the thread is the Lord. It's like the judge. The judge is a silent spectator, wherein the prosecutor and defendant they give their own judgments, but it is the judge that passes the law and is not affected by it. Same thing, the Lord's appearance and disappearance are like that. He is there, he is not there.
No. How is it say that, okay, Krishna is in, everyone is in Krishna, in the sense Krishna is the Hambija Pratapita, or everyone has come from Krishna. But how is it said that Krishna is not in us? That is the last part to explain.
We cannot see him with those eyes. We have limited vision.
No. But pure devotees can see, right? It's not about vision. Yes, Prafulamat, something else.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Because Krishna is aloof. He is doing all the works, all the material and spiritual creation is being done by his representation, by his partial representation. He is not there that he has to be present in everything personally. He is there, but he is not seen. He is not visible, Mataji.
Not about visibility. How is you say that Krishna is? It is about Krishna is, yes, Kripa Mataji. Last.
Mataji, does it mean that Krishna is already, he's basically detached? He gives the limited freedom to the entity to do what they want and does not interfere in that limited freedom that we have. It also, of course, comes from karma, but then he does not interfere basically. He's detached, even though we are some way, of course, we are all attached, but still he is detached and he gives us that freedom to do what we want in that limited amount of space.
Yes, so that means he's detached, right? He is not in us in the sense, Pravina Mataji, yes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. I was saying that like we are in Krishna, obviously, because we are part of the Prakriti, we are part of this material world, and Krishna is everywhere. He's in the whole material world is his universal is his universal form. So we are obviously in him, but in the same token, we can't say that Krishna is in us because Krishna's superior and inferior energies are there all over. And he is in the Goloka and he is basically the person. And although all these are parts of his energies, and he's not attached to these energies, he is like a renunciate. But they're all his energies, and so in the same token, we can't say that Krishna is in us because Krishna is in and out and everywhere in the form of his inferior and superior energies, and Krishna as a person is in Goloka.
Okay, so that means yeah. Okay, so Krishna, yes, Lakshmi Mataji, what is it?
Mataji, in one of the book, I said, I have read about this in Sudha Mangal, one of the book. What I thought was like, Krishna is present everywhere, but the energy level of Krishna is more in few places and his energies are very least in some places. So where the energy levels are very least, so we consider as Krishna is not present there. Like they have given an example of cow dung, Mataji. So cow dung, when we take into consideration, it is pure. Okay. So where cow dung is round in shape, like when we put it on the wall, correct? And
Yes.
the roti, what we eat, the roti, that is also round in shape. So that we don't eat cow dung, we eat roti, correct? In the same way, the Krishna's energies are more when he is praised, when he is chanting, when he is remembered. When it is not very least, no? So there Krishna's energies are less. So we consider that Krishna is not present there. Actually, he's present, but in a very minute things.
Yeah. So this analogy which you mentioned is the example given is there is a powerhouse. That powerhouse can supply even 9-volt of current to a very small house with a 9-volt bulb, in the sense LED bulb, or it can also supply electricity to an industry, right, which have lot of machines. So Krishna's energy can go to the highest to Narasimhadev, where he had to kill Hiranyakashipu, and all that, Parashuram, where he killed all the Kshatriyas 27 times. It can also go to Lord Ram and small avatars, in the sense Lord Ram have done so great things. But his energy level when compared to Narasimhadev was less. His power. So Krishna can supply, as you said, so much of energy to one thing and less in the other. So yes, but Krishna is not present in the sense, Jyoti Mataji. He is aloof. He's not attached to your karma. He is not influenced by your karma, right? That is what it means, that he is not in us. He is in us as Paramatma, but he is aloof. Aloof. He's Swarat. He's independent. He's not influenced by anything. He's not bound by anything which you do. He's just a witness. He's aloof there. Okay. Yes, Jyoti Mataji.
Mataji, does that analogy of the flower and fragrance fit here? Because the fragrance is in the flower, but it is aloof from the flower.
Yes, that's an analogy again you can mention. So aloof, like Padmapatra, like a drying coconut or a water droplet on the lotus leaf. He's aloof, like the water droplet is in the leaf, but is it actually attached? No. It can just any time just drop out. So Krishna is like that. He's aloof. He's just a witness there. So Rachita Mataji asked, how do I keep a firm?
Like that, Krishna is neutral there. That's all, no, Mataji?
Krishna is
neutral.
Neutral in the sense, yes, he doesn't interfere in your minute independence. Neutral in the sense, Krishna if you are a nice devotee, you can get that inner voice, in the sense Krishna as Paramatma will start guiding you. Like you have noticed, if you do something wrong, then Krishna in the as form of Paramatma will start guiding you, right? Don't do that, don't do this. So he is actually guiding the devotee. But for non-devotees, he just remain neutral. He doesn't give any advice. So Rajeta Mataji asked, how do we keep a firm faith firm while practicing sadhana bhakti? By association. So by associating with great devotees, with advanced Vaishnavas, our faith will increase. Also, our faith will increase by hearing the different pastimes of Krishna, by chanting more in quality wise, and also by association. Association will really help us to increase the faith in Krishna, and by reading scriptures. It will take some time, because all of you fill the attendance form. So can we stop here? We have done with chapter 13.
Yes, Mataji.
And now we have to go little fast from now next onwards. So please, I'll close the form on 12th. Okay, just given you 1 more week time to upload the slokas. Okay, anything to add? Any questions? So somebody asked about second initiation. Second initiation is basically for temple devotees who's going to do deity worship or cooking for the deities, for deity kitchen. So otherwise, temples giving a second initiation is very rare to outside devotees. Mainly it's for temple worship. Okay, the deity worship and deity cooking, deity dressing and all that. You should be initiated like 1 year after your initiation. First initiation, and also you should finish second and third canto. So those who are applying for initiation, please start reading canto 1 Bhagavatam and Nectar of Devotion, the first few chapters, teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Lakshmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I just wanted to ask that whether that Vigraha Seva also is a part of like adding strengthening your faith in Krishna. Does it help in Vigraha
Yeah,
Seva?
deity worship also helps to increase your faith in Krishna. Yes, that's why Grihasthas, it is said at least your house should have altar. If you don't have time, don't have deities, at least a picture where you can offer your food and bhog and make it prasad. Now, some kind of deity worship should happen in Grihastha house. You light lamp, you do arti. It is nice actually. It will increase our faith in the Lord.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
And when you associate with devotees who have more faith, you will start getting the faith. When you hear their pastimes, like which Krishna I have done in their life, then you will start increasing the faith in the Lord. Racheta Mataji?
I had another doubt. So after the third module, so which one comes first? The NOI or NOD?
NOD. NOI in Ishopanishads is the last module. NOD comes first because we have 19 chapters. It's and some 4 slokas to be memorized from NOD.
And after that, it will be Ishopanishad, right?
NOI, last is Isho.
The NOD, NOI, then Ishopanishad.
Yes.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay, Hare Krishna everyone. I think we can stop here 9 o'clock. Vancha kalpadurudasya kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Gaudiya Vaishnava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Manasi Mataji and Pravina Mataji, like, don't wait for me to confirm. If class is not there or postponed, I'll message you or inform you. Okay. Otherwise, you keep posting the links at 7:30. And December, we don't have a batch. Bhagavad Gita batch is not there. We're taking a break this month. And this will be on from Jan. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Veda base, we had 51 chapters in Nectar of Devotion, no, Mataji. Why is it like that?
Why? Because that's a good question. Nectar of Devotion, it becomes heavier and heavier as you go. After chapter 19, if you take, it's all Prema Bhakti and Bhava Bhakti, which we can't digest actually. Means so much in deep it is. So Prabhupada have made it like 19 chapters enough for Bhakti Shastri level. If you want, you can read. But for as an exam point of view, that's it. Because as we go deeper and deeper in NOD, it's a little high for us to take. Unless you are in Krishna consciousness for some time. It talks about so many things, Madhurya Bhakti and Viraha Bhakti and all Vairagya. So many things. So first 19 chapters is enough for Bhakti Shastri. That's what they have decided. The course. Okay.